Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're not just looking at a historical document. We're opening what is essentially a final will and testament, a letter written with just absolute urgency.
That's the perfect way to put it, urgency.
Our mission is to really unpack Paul's final, most personal letter, the second one to Timothy, to get at the emotional weight and the instructions he was leaving right before his death.
And that's the key to the whole thing. Commentators call this his testament to the church. And it was written, literally in the shadow of his own execution. It's just saturated with emotion.
And it's so important we get the context right, because Paul's situation here it's just radically different from his earlier imprisonments.
Oh, completely. The first time, around 60 AD,
Yeah.
that was mostly driven by opposition from Jewish leaders.
Right, and he had certain privileges.
Exactly. He was a Roman citizen. He could run a house, have visitors, write letters. This second time, though, this is a state execution. We're talking somewhere between 65 and 68 AD. The government itself has marked him as an enemy.
And we know the trigger, don't we? The event that flipped the switch from house arrest to this brutal state hostility.
We do. The Great Fire of Rome. July 64 AD.
Nero's catastrophe.
Nero's catastrophe, absolutely. Whether he started it or not, he desperately needed a scapegoat to stop the public from turning on him. And he chose the Christians. What came next was, well, it was one of the most brutal persecutions they ever faced.
And the details from the sources, they're pretty graphic. They don't hold back.
Not at all. They really show you the depths of it. Some historians noted the persecution got so intense there was a shortage of wood for crosses. Just the sheer number of crucifixions.
Wow.
But the detail that always stands out, they would cover Christians in pitch and set them on fire.
Human torches.
Yeah. Use them as human torches to light up Nero's gardens at night.
It's just horrifying. And in the middle of all this terror, Paul, as the leader of this group, is hunted down.
And his status just plummets. He goes from being a prisoner awaiting a fair trial to a condemned felon, an enemy of the state.
So no more rented house.
No. He's thrown into a dungeon, probably the Mamertine prison, dark, cold, wet, just profoundly unhealthy. And because he's a Roman citizen, the sentence is quick. Decapitation.
So you have to picture it. He's an old man, he's scarred, he's freezing in this dungeon, he's been abandoned by almost everyone, and he knows he's about to die.
Right.
But his focus isn't on himself.
Not even a little. His entire priority, his whole focus is making sure the gospel message survives, that it stays untainted for the generations to come. The message was so much bigger than his own life.
And that's the backdrop for this letter to Timothy, his successor. What do we know about Timothy, the man receiving this incredibly heavy letter?
Well, Timothy was in a really tough spot.
Yeah.
The sources tell us he was young, a bit timid by nature, maybe shy. He was also sick a lot.
So not the first person you'd pick to lead in a time of war.
Probably not. He had
Yeah.
a great spiritual foundation, though. His mother Eunice and grandmother Lois taught him the scriptures faithfully. But yeah, not a bold, aggressive personality.
And his assignment was just gargantuan.
Immense. He was leading the church in Ephesus, the capital of Asia Minor. It's described as a field just mined with false teachers, a spiritual and philosophical war zone.
And on top of that, the political persecution was causing this mass defection.
Yes, a stampede. When being associated with Paul could get your family burned alive, a lot of believers in Asia just ran. They were terrified. Paul even names two of them, Phygellus and Hermogenes, as leading the charge.
The pressure on Timothy must have been just crushing, which makes Paul's encouragement so powerful. He says, "Don't be ashamed of me or my chains."
He's trying to counteract that fear directly. He reminds them, God didn't give you a spirit of cowardice. He says God gave you a spirit of power and of love and of self-control, discipline. He's telling him to stoke that fire, not let the persecution put it out.
Okay, let's get into the core of the letter itself. Paul gives Timothy this. It's like a fourfold charge that summarizes the whole mission.
Yeah, this is his final wisdom distilled down. First, he has to guard the gospel.
Protect its purity.
Exactly. Don't add to it, don't take away from it. Second, he has to suffer for the gospel. Accept hardship as part of the job.
Third.
Persevere in the gospel. Stay firm in the truth he was taught.
Wow.
And finally, number 4, preach the gospel.
Proclaim it, even when it's not popular.
Especially when it's not popular.
And the sources really stress that the power in this gospel isn't about human effort. It's all about what they call sovereign grace.
Absolutely essential. The power comes from its origin and its effect. Paul says that Jesus' appearance utterly defeated death. He uses this Greek word, katargio. It's a fantastic word.
What does it mean?
It means to render something inefficient,
Yeah.
inoperative, useless.
Ah, so that's where that illustration comes from that you see in commentaries.
That's the one. Death is like a scorpion that's had its stinger ripped out.
Or a defeated general.
Exactly. It can still make noise, it might still look scary,
Right.
but it can't land the final fatal blow. And that's the bedrock of Paul's confidence, even sitting there in that dungeon.
And that confidence leads to this famous theological debate about the deposit in chapter 1.
Right, the paratheke.
Yeah.
Something entrusted for safekeeping. Paul says he knows God is able to guard his deposit until the final day.
And the debate is, what is the deposit? Is it the gospel message itself, or is it his own soul?
Most scholars lean toward the idea that he's talking about his own salvation, his own soul. The context feels so personal. I know whom I have believed. He's talking about the security of his own life in God's hands.
Which makes perfect sense when you contrast it with what he tells Timothy to do.
Exactly right. Because a few lines later, Timothy is explicitly commanded to guard the deposit of truth, the gospel message.
So there's this incredible duality. God guards Paul's soul.
While Timothy has to actively fight to guard the message, Paul's eternal destiny is secure, but the work of protecting the doctrine, that's still a huge human responsibility.
So to help Timothy with this, Paul gives him these 5 analogies in chapter 2, 5 figures to model his ministry on.
Yeah, these are all about instilling a philosophy of discipline and focus. First up is the steward.
The manager.
Right. His job isn't to invent the message, it's to pass it on faithfully to other faithful people.
Yeah.
The sources argue true succession is about the continuity of the message, not just the office.
Then comes the soldier.
The soldier has to endure hardship, and this is key, avoid getting tangled up in civilian affairs. The Greek word there, implikitai, it's like a soldier getting his sword caught in his own armor, makes him useless.
His only goal is to please the commander.
Singular focus. Then you have the athlete.
Who has to follow the rules?
Strictly, otherwise no matter how brilliant you are, you're disqualified. It's all about severe discipline and preparation.
What I find so interesting is the next one. He goes from the stadium to the field. He talks about the farmer.
It's a brilliant contrast, isn't it? The farmer works hard, often in total anonymity, patiently waiting. Paul is saying a lot of ministry is unseen labor. But the farmer also has the right to the first fruits of his labor. That patient work is rewarded.
And the final figure.
The workman. This one is about intellectual integrity. He has to present himself as dokimos approved, like tested gold. He has to cut straight the word of truth.
Handle it correctly.
Handle it correctly. Expound it faithfully. No twisting.
So all of this is given because Paul knows that Timothy, and really all believers, are living in what he calls the last days.
And the commentators are pretty clear on this. That phrase doesn't just mean some distant future. It means the entire period between Christ's first and second coming. And it's an era he describes as chalabos.
Which means?
Hard.
Yeah.
Violent, even savage, like the behavior of wild animals.
And the root of this savagery isn't just external, like Nero. Paul says it's an internal corruption.
Absolutely. It all starts with what he calls an inverted love. People will be lovers of self, lovers of money, and lovers of pleasure. They turn the divine order completely upside down. They worship themselves, love things, and use people.
And that leads to the spiritual hypocrisy, having a form of godliness but denying its power.
It's just performance. Religion completely cut off from moral behavior. And he tells Timothy, flee from these people.
Yeah.
Treat that inauthentic faith as a serious danger.
So in this world of fear and lies, like these guys, Hymenaeus and Philetus, claiming the resurrection already happened, the only defense is Scripture.
That's the foundation. He says all Scripture is theopneustos, a magnificent Greek word.
Yeah, breathed.
Breathed out by God. And it gives its 4 uses. It's for teaching what's right, for refuting what's wrong, for a correction to get you back on track, for training in righteousness. It's a complete toolkit.
As we get to the end of the letter, you can just feel Paul's loneliness. It's so human.
It's heartbreaking. His urgent plea is just, come quickly. He needs his cloak for the coming winter. He needs his books, and especially his parchments. Even at the very end, he needed comfort for his body and food for his mind.
And you see this stark contrast between betrayal and loyalty.
You do. Demas is the tragedy. He abandoned Paul because he loved this present age.
Just walked away.
But then you have Onesiphorus. His name means bringer of services.
He's the total opposite.
He's the anchor. He actually went looking for Paul in Rome, found him in that awful prison, and Paul says he was never ashamed of my chains. It was such a profound act of loyalty.
And finally, Paul gets to his own triumphant end. He doesn't see his death as something Nero is doing to him.
No, he sees it as an offering, a libation poured out to God. He uses the Greek word analysis for his death, which means departure,
It's like a ship unmooring for its final voyage.
or a prisoner being released,
Mm.
or a soldier breaking camp. It's a release.
And from that place, he delivers his verdict on his own life. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith.
He's totally confident. He knows the crown of righteousness is waiting for him. His victory wasn't avoiding the suffering, it was being faithful right through the middle of it.
And that's the legacy he passes on. He makes it so clear that all who want to live a godly life will face persecution. It's not a possibility, it's a certainty.
It's the defining reality of this age. So his final words are a call for stability and fidelity in a very, very volatile world.
And on that note, here's a final thought. Paul, this intellectual and spiritual giant, needed his cloak for his body, his books for his mind, and his friends for his soul in his last moments. What does the sheer humility of that request tell you about our enduring human needs, even for those on the verge of glory? And how do you, in your own life, balance the strength of your spiritual conviction with the very real, very essential needs for human fellowship and physical provision?